Hi, this is Jamila. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a follow-up video for the video I did in my own words about my trip to Nigeria, about finding my roots and chasing them down, flying to Africa. It was the first time going overseas, first time visiting Nigeria without my family. I went with a friend. And so I kind of just want to continue with that story. So here we go. So we got off the plane in Enugu, and I was just immediately touched by Enugu State, you know, just by being in Igboland. It started to touch my spirit. I could start to feel something bubbling inside of me. Of course, when I got off the plane, the first thing I was thinking about was cash. It was one thing I learned on this trip is that you should always have cash, because I don't have a account, you know, there in Nigeria, so cash is important. So I went to look for an ATM and got a lot of cash out so that I could cover our ride from Enugu to Anambra State, which we needed to get to, you know, in the hotel and things like that. So we found a driver. My friend found him. There was a bunch of drivers lined up, of course, looking for people who needed rides, and she found him and negotiated the price and everything, and we went with him. And you know, we got in his car and we got to going, and you know, as we were driving through Enugu State, I was just looking out the window and I was just amazed by, you know, how nice it was, how many houses and, you know, things like that I saw, and buildings and, you know, people, just so many people. And I became emotional, especially when we were driving through the rural area, going from the airport from Enugu to Anambra State. We were driving through the rural area, and I started to really get emotional. And you know, I can't explain why. I don't know. I haven't had, you know, a bout like that since I don't know when. Definitely not, you know, landing in Nigeria. I did not. But when I got to Enugu and the car started rolling and we started passing, you know, this rural area, just lots of trees and, you know, stuff like that. It was so beautiful, and I became overwhelmed. In my mind's eye, I could see, like, you know, a third eye with like people, you know, walking around with baskets on their heads and babies on their back. And, you know, in my third eye, that's what the rural area looked like to me. That's what the trees in the forest looked like to me. Even though there was no people there, that's what I felt in my spirit, and my spirit became overwhelmed. And that's the best way for me to explain it, you know, to you. It was like a 2.5 hour car ride, and I didn't sleep at all. I couldn't sleep a wink. I was just, my eyes were glued to the windows. I did cry. I cried a lot, and like I said, I hadn't cried the whole trip at all, except for when I was getting on a plane to leave America. I cried for my children, my husband, you know, because I was gonna miss them. But that was the next time that I actually had shed tears, was being in Enugu State. Something just came over me and I couldn't control it. So that's the best way to explain it. So we got to the village, we got to our hotel, and it was a very nice hotel, very nice people that worked there. We were very helpful to us, to help us get our luggage and things and get settled in our room. The room itself was great. It had air conditioning and the bathroom, shower, just everything you would expect to find, you know, in any hotel. It even had a restaurant. So we did eat as soon as we got there, and that's the last thing we did. We got there pretty late, but we ate dinner. And then, you know, when I got back to my room, I was still very emotional, honestly. The fact that the Lord had brought me all this way, you know, to my ancestors' home, to my home, I just was still overwhelmed. And I just began to praise God in that room for that time, in that moment. And then after that, after I calmed down, I called my kids, called my husband. It was like, I think it was morning there, and I was getting ready to go to bed. So, I took a shower and went to sleep. And the next day, we headed straight to my friend's family's home. We had a driver. Her brother had set up a driver for us for the time that we were going to be in the village. So he came and picked us up and took us. And I got to say, I was really... I was shocked, by the roads. I know I had drove there, obviously, from Enugu, but to be in the village and to see the huge potholes and, everything, I was just like, whoa, we should fix that. You get places quicker if it were, flat. But anyway, that we got to her parents' house, and I couldn't tell you how we got there, but we got there, and she pointed out some landmarks along the way. Like, she pointed out in particular the home of the colonial king. So he was the person from that village that went and got the first Europeans to come back to this, to that village and colonize it. So, it's like, oh, okay. So he's the guy who sorted out the slave situation. I was not happy to know that. And I was told that his relatives even still lived in that area, which was like, that's great. That's wonderful. But it was interesting. Her family's home was great. They had a compound, had a gate and everything to get into it, a couple buildings on the land. And we got to meet her mother, who was up in age, and her brother, her older brother, and his wife and their children. And it was very nice. It was very nice to meet them and to see them. I wish that I had done better studying of my Igbo language because, I wish that I could have held, longer conversations with them, but my Igbo language is not very good. It's at the very beginning stages, and yeah, it's just about finding time to improve that I haven't been able to find yet, but I can at least greet, so that I can do. From there, we went on a walk through the village, and I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. All the stories that I heard came together at that moment when they said we were going on a walk, because all I saw was trees, like, in vegetation. So, I was thinking of snakes, spiders, anything that crawls. I'm not that person. I'm not a outdoor person. I don't camp. I've never been camping. I've been hiking, but like once, when I was younger. So I didn't know what to expect. But what happened was like more than I can ever think of or imagine. Like when I was walking through the village with them, like it was beautiful. Like to see those tall palm trees, and to see the fruit just growing everywhere, banana trees, mango trees, people growing cassava and corn. Like, it's like, how can anybody be hungry here? There's food everywhere. And so I started to think about those videos that they used to show us about Africa, and I'm like, okay, who was hungry? Like, I don't know which part it was, but it couldn't have been this part, because there's food everywhere. You just walk down the road and there's food. If you're hungry, get a plantain or a banana, and you should be good. But I don't know. So that caught my eye. The beautiful homes caught my eye. My friend was explaining to me how people, even though they move away from the village, they still build homes there. And I was thinking to myself, I think I want to do that too. I think that would be something I would be interested in. We visited a place, a home, a compound that I didn't know at the time, but the compound was actually my family's compound. They didn't tell me that when we went there. And I'm pretty sure I put it into the videos before this one, but it's just this beautiful compound. It looked like a castle to me. And after we left, and I was like, whose house is that? And they were like, it's your relative. And I was like, oh, you know, because I had not expected to meet any relatives on this trip. I expected to go to my village, my ancestral village. I know the name of it, I know where it is, and that's what I wanted to do. I told people, I was like, when I get there, I'm gonna take off my shoes and rub my feet in that clay, you know, because I'm home, you know, and that was my only plans for that. However, that's not what happened. However, things didn't go quite that way. So the relatives weren't there at the time. So, you know, that was fine. And that was that. But we ended up we went to another relative's house. So they were determined to find my relatives. They had it in their mind, my friend, her brother, her mother, everybody had it in their mind that they were going to find them. And it was funny because when we were at her mother's house, a woman came by who wasn't invited, who didn't know me or anything about us, and she was actually a part of the family, a part of or in the neighborhood, or she was in some way related or a neighbor to my family. And I didn't even know that, and they knew it, and they were just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You know, she never comes to visit, and she just came here, you know. And so it kind of just started to speed up, and it started to, you know, the fact that I was going to meet my family started to set in, and I got really nervous. I was so nervous, like I wasn't dressed for it. I felt like I wasn't ready. But next thing you know, we're in the car, and we're driving to the next village over, which was my family's village. And they had found another home where family members lived, and they were going to take me there. And I was scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm shaking now just talking about it. So in the car, we went to the village. We went to another village, my family's village. We pulled into the driveway. Her brother had changed into these clothes, and I was like, wow, that's a nice, you know, traditional clothing you have there. Why are you changing your clothes? But I didn't know. So we went to there, and they were home. So we knocked on the door. They answered, older guy and another lady, and I was shocked. I just lost my tongue. I think at that point, I couldn't speak. I couldn't say anything. I was scared to death. I didn't know if I was going to get yelled at, thrown out, you know, I didn't know what to expect. But I know that they explained, my friend and her brother explained to the older gentleman, the chief, explained to him who I was, and they invited us in. And so there was a lot of talking going on about how this could be, how we could be related. And yeah, it just kind of went like that. And I didn't get thrown out. Instead, I got embraced. Like I was embraced with love, and I was, you know, accepted immediately. And a lot of it has to do we looked alike. I think the ancestors knew that, like their genes are so strong. Cause I look like him and he looked like me, and the guy next to her, you know, the lady, she also looked like me and I looked like her, and we were just sitting there like triplets. Like we all could have, if no one would have said anything, anybody would have been able to guess that, you know, okay, these ones are related, you know, they would have been able to pull us out because that's how much we looked alike. And I'll be sure to drop a photo in there and show you what I'm saying, what I'm talking about. So, but the thing is, and this is pretty serious, the senior of our family, chief, he, before I came, you know, he had been having a series of dreams and about, you know, a celebration, about people coming, about someone coming. And also he had been approached by a prophet, a seer. And this was, I don't know, maybe a month before I came or whatever. It was before I came. And they had told him that a daughter was coming back home. And he didn't know what they were talking about. And he was, you know, very confused. He called, his other family members, and he asked them, you know, what daughter that was lost that's coming home, and they didn't know. And then next thing you know, a month or so later, I show up. So I was getting chills. Sorry, talking about it, but that's what happened. And a few days before I got there to his house, that's when he had a dream. A dream. I won't go into it, but it was a telling dream. And I asked him, when did he have it? And he told me a few days before I got there. And the reason I asked him that was the day that he was saying that he had that dream was the day that I arrived in Africa, like when I landed in Abuja, when I got to Nigeria. So I only get chills because, you know, I mean, I'm touched. And I'm a spiritual dreamer too. So, you know, to know that he's a spiritual dreamer, like he gets dreams, I get dreams, it was emotional, because I just know that there's a greater force at work here. And it was an emotional day. I had gave myself an Igbo name before I got to Nigeria, and it was Ngozi, named after my favorite author. I love her books. And the woman, his sister, the chief's sister who was there, her name was Ngozi. And so I was just like, wow, that's cool. She's the original, the copy, you know. So that was cool. Anyway, it was just emotional. We stayed there for quite a while till it started to get dark, just talking and catching up. He had called some of his family members that were local, and they wanted to come and see me and see about this, you know, thing. And so they came and they saw me, and they were like, oh my gosh, she looked just like us, you know. So it was just nuts that, you know, we were all sitting there, you know, just enjoying that moment. So quite a few family members came, and they said that another family member was on his way. He was coming from America. He was coming in, and that we should meet him too. So what happened was we decided to, they invited me to come back on, you know, a day from 2 days later. They invited me. They wanted to do a formal, you know, induction, family induction type ceremony for me. And I was blown away. I wasn't expecting any of this, like nothing. I wasn't expecting anything. I just wanted to take my feet off, take my shoes off, run my feet through the clay. That's it. And you know, I get overwhelmed just thinking about, just talking about it. I couldn't believe the love and affection they were showing me just right off the bat. And I couldn't believe that, you know, the features that I have, the ones that, you know, are distinct to me, are not distinct to me, they're distinct to my family. You know, it was great. It was great. So, we were like, okay, cool, let's do that. You know, I was scared and nervous, but they invited me, so that's what we were gonna do. So I was like, okay, fine. You know, we went back to the hotel. We went to her family's home, then we went back to the hotel, and I was just excited after that. The next day we went to, so the following day we went to Onitsha market. I was really shocked by the market because I thought it was an indoor place. I mean, I thought I had did my homework watching as many videos on Onitsha, on Anambra State, and I don't know why I thought it was indoor, but it was not. I mean, it kind of was, and it wasn't. Like, some parts were, some parts weren't, but I was not prepared for the number of people that were in the market. Like, we went in the morning, and it was just, you know, oh, people everywhere. So many people, many people. It was like being at like a parade in New Orleans, you know, and you trying to, you know, cross the street or go from one end to the other. Like, it was just that many people, and everybody's selling things. You know, people were grabbing my arm, come here, you know, madame, you know, auntie, you know, you know, and I was just trying to stay with my driver because, you know, I didn't want to get lost. He gave us, he was with us for our time in the market, so he can hold the bags and show us where to go, where things are. So that was cool. So I was just trying not to get lost. So, you know, because you get lost, I can get lost in the crowd easily. I don't know about you guys. I can get lost in it real quick, you know, especially if I get distracted, if I see something I want to buy or whatever. But I was feeling pretty good in the market that day. I had cash, so I was ready to shop and you know, do some shopping. That's what I like. I love trinkets. I love fabric. What you got for me, I'm ready to buy. So, you know, I was thinking about all the people at home. I brought an extra suitcase, so, you know, I was trying to get loose up in this market. So we didn't eat breakfast, breakfast is so important to me. But my whole time in Africa, it seems like it was just only important to me because we would get up and go and without a thought of breakfast, which to me is unheard of. Like when I'm at home, like I'll wake up late and still eat breakfast. Like I'll wake up at lunchtime and still eat my breakfast. It's just that important. But in Nigeria, we were just getting up and going. You know, we were just getting up, headed to the market, didn't eat. So of course there was, you know, people walking around with food. They were selling food, puff puffs, my favorite. And I was like, yeah, I'm finna just get some food out here. I was a little nervous about it because I don't eat everybody's food, you know, like that. Growing up here in America, it's just a thing. We don't eat everybody's food. But when you're hungry, you know, I just want to eat. So I ate at the market or at the end when we got back to the hotel, I would eat there. But yeah, the market was wild. I went 3 times and I still feel like there was stuff I left behind. I know there was stuff that I left behind that I really wanted to get. I bought a lot of beads, a lot of traditional stuff. I bought fabric, lace fabric. I bought African print fabric. I bought wigs. As I was thinking, my sister, you know, I bought the braided ones from Abuja, but I bought some, just some regular wavy ones from the market, from Onitsha market. So yeah, I bought clothes, like dresses. I bought so much stuff. It's ridiculous. I just was like, this is amazing and I want more. So I mean, even now it's just random days I sit at home and think about a gele color that I don't have, you know. Like, because I mean I can sew too, which is why I buy fabric. And I get invited to parties, you know, sometimes, and you know, sometimes you need every color, I think, of gele. And if you don't have every color, it's a problem, because if you need to buy one from someone else, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg, and you know that you could have got it from the market for way cheaper, you know. So I learned quickly that the best way to shop is in the market. Like, hands down, don't go to ShopRite because they're just gonna rip you off. Go straight to the market and get anything from suitcases to food to baby diapers to whatever you need. Don't buy it at ShopRite. I'm sorry, ShopRite, I can't endorse ShopRite. I don't even want to talk about my experience there, but I will say that I enjoyed the market. It was hot, it was sweaty, I got lost several times, but I bought a lot of stuff that I enjoy, and I would go back again. I will go back again. As a matter of fact, it's going to be like fly in, eat, meet, see my family, and then go straight to the market, you know, to get all the things that I've been thinking about all year that I didn't get the last time I was there. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. We did the market like 2 days. We did all that day. Then we went back. We went home, and we went to her mom's house and ate and this and that and the other. Then we went back the next day again for more. We went there total like 3 times. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. The day came, it was a Wednesday, that we were to go back to my family's house. That's the day they said come. They said 3 o'clock. So we went to the market early that day and shop. Then we went back to the hotel, took a shower, changed our clothes. I actually changed into a traditional dress and did the braids, you know, because, you know, it's gonna be a ceremony. And I had got the dress from Abuja, and it was just my size. I don't know how, but I walked into a boutique and this girl had, she had my size, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna buy that. So I put that dress on, and our driver took us back to my family's house. And so when we got to my family's house for the ceremony, everybody loved my dress, and you know, I had the braids going on and everything like that, and everybody was dressed up too. So everybody had on their traditional clothing, their red hats, you know, and then there was so many more people, like family from everywhere. Every time somebody came in, they would say, oh, this is this person, you know, she's related to us, you know. And so they all came into the compound, and they did a ceremony. They did an actual ceremony. It started with the cola nuts. I bought palm oil wine. The driver got it for me, and I brought that as a gift to the chief, you know, to our chief, our family chief. And yeah, so there was food, there was jollof rice, and you know, chicken, and just everything. There was a lot of food, and it was, you know, we did the cola nuts first. I got to have some, you know. It was I only say that because here I don't really, people skip me. They just skip me. They're like cola nuts, and then I just skip right over. It's usually the men who get them, but I got it, you know, at my family ceremony for me. And yeah, it was beautiful. It lasted a few hours. You know, my cousins, the one that I hadn't met, what came in from America, he was there, and he's a chief as well. And it was so good to meet him, like so good to meet him. And so so he was there, and his brother and his sister, and you know, just a bunch of family, just people just kept pouring in. And they did the ceremony, and I have pictures, and I have a video of the whole thing. It's in Igbo, so I have to actually get it translated, you know, so that, you know, I can post it, or else everybody else will understand. All my Igbo subscribers will totally understand it, but no one else will. So and they were describing it to me, and they were telling me, you know, what was being said and this and that, and it was just so beautiful. Like, I really can't explain to you the love that I felt, you know, in that area like that. That's not even everything, you guys. So much happened, but this is the meat, this is the heart. Like, they accepted me into the family, and the ceremony was just beautiful. Like, everybody had a chance to say, you know, welcome, and say a little speech, and they poured out some of the palm oil wine onto the ground for the ancestors. You know, my ancestors, our ancestors that were taken away and robbed of their beautiful family. You know, that really just, it gets me. You know, like, this was their family. They had a family. They have, you know, a place to live, a place that's theirs, and they were taken away. You know, they were pulled away from their family and from their land, and that's not right. And the ceremony was one way of, you know, trying to, you know, heal, is what I want to say. And they poured out the wine onto the ground. I did get to take my shoes off and run around in the clay, and everybody was like, put your shoes back on. They were like, that's enough. My cousin was like, that's enough, put your shoes back on. So that was that. But I did get to do it, and that was so beautiful. It was just so beautiful. My friend and her family was there in attendance, and then the rest of the people there was my family, and it was a lot of them. There were so many beautiful words being spoken. Like I said, the wine being poured to the ground. It was just amazing. It was an amazing feeling, and I felt so blessed. I felt so blessed, and I felt so happy, and I just, so many emotions were running through my body, you know, that it was crazy. I couldn't believe that what was happening was happening. You know, it was unbelievable. It's nothing that I thought about when I was at home, you know, in America, thinking, oh, when I get to Nigeria, everybody's gonna take me in and give me a hug and say, welcome back, you know, or, you know, or whatever. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I just know that I needed to go, and nobody understood that. My husband understood it, but nobody else. My sisters, my mother, like my friends, like no one understood that I needed to go there. And everybody tried to talk me out of it, tell me how dangerous it is, you know, tell me, you know, just everything that they could say that they thought would deter me from going. but I had made up my mind. I played on the fence for a while. I said I wanted to go in September. I played on the fence all the way till probably January or February when I bought my ticket and said, no, I am going. Because fear, you know, fear can hold you back. Fear can stop you. And I'm so thankful that fear didn't stop me, because now I have like a whole another set of family members, you know, the people that are a part of me and I'm a part of them, and we keep in touch, you know, and we plan to see each other again. And I've seen my homeland. I can go back and say I know where I began, you know, I know where at least a piece of me began, and I see so much of me in the Igbo people, in the Igbo culture. And now I know where it came from, you know, like why I do the things I do. Why do I say the things I say? Why do I believe the things that I do, even though no one taught me, right? Or my family, my mother, you know, through her life and her family, you know, they all, you know, do things a certain way, but nobody stopped to wonder why we do things that way. Why are we so hardworking? Why do we own businesses? You know, why is it important? Why do we own homes and property? Like, you know, I didn't know where that came from. And I could see that it came from, you know, our Igbo culture, you know, being the best, excelling, working hard. Like, those are all things that I can attribute to that. And family love, like family love, which is really important, you know. So I just love it. And I can't wait to tell you guys more. It's just so much more. But I do want to end this video right now. I don't make it as long as the other one. But I will tell you the last thing that happened at that ceremony. And it blew my mind. I don't know if it's going to blow yours, but at the end of the ceremony, as you know, even as I was packing up to leave with my driver to go back to the hotel, my family got together with my friend and they told her point blank, thank you so much for bringing her home to us. But she's our family and she's our responsibility now. We will take her. We will take her in. She will stay with us for the rest of her trip. And so listen, I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. I don't know where that came from, and I was not expecting it, but it landed on my lap. So, you know, my friend brought it to me and she was like, what you want to do? And, you know, I was just thinking, God brought me this far. Like, he brought me safely by myself across, you know, across the ocean. And he brought me to Nigeria, you know. Then he protected me and kept me in Abuja. Then he protected and kept me and got me safely to Igboland. Even from Enugu to Anambra State, he's been protecting me. And God brought me here to this place, to this compound, to my family. And I said, I can't do nothing but trust him. That must be the only thing to do. That's the only thing left that I can do. And so I agreed. I'll do it. Now we set a date for me to come by and bring my stuff, and that's what we did. Thank you for watching, as always. If you want to know more, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you know when I drop the videos. Try not to make it too long, too far away from now. I saw an opportunity. I'm in my office alone, and I was like, yes, make the video. So I did, but I will be posting more because it was just an amazing trip, and I want as many people to know about it as possible. And I hope for other Black Americans out there that you will be able to experience what I'm experiencing, if that's what you so choose to do. I hope that, you know, I hope nothing but good things, and I send positive energy your way. Keep at it. If it happened for me, it'll definitely happen for you. But until next video, thank you for watching.